Welcome to part 32 of our Clone Wars rewrite. We are currently rewriting the character of Ahsoka Tano, and in this video we'll be focusing on Season 4, Episode 2, Gungan Attack, where we continue to show Ahsoka's envy of Lee Char and show her struggling with her feelings as she's forced to sit on the sidelines. Thanks for joining us. Alright, so we wrote an argument against Ahsoka. Throughout the second episode, the prince struggles with sitting idle as his people are captured and enslaved. He often comments on the need to gather an army and fight, and Ahsoka, of all people, is the one telling him that he just needs to sit tight. This from the girl who complains incessantly whenever she's not involved in the action. After encouraging the prince that his strength is inspiring greatness in others and hearing him brood that his people don't know he's alive, she stops paying any attention to him, and the result is that he comes out of hiding and makes a spectacle which nearly gets him killed. And she stays in the shadows where she is out of the line of fire, telling him the guards will be coming rather than going out and protecting him from the inevitable barrage of fire. When they are fighting in the whirling water, Ahsoka puts the prince in a vulnerable position and then just leaves him there and watches while he gets attacked by Riff. She intervenes momentarily and then again sits watching as Fisto struggles against Riff, and the prince is inches away from being harmed several times. It's not until Fisto orders her to take the prince to safety that she gets her butt in gear again. Later, she tells the prince, "You can't let your fear control you. If you make decisions out of fear, you're more likely to be wrong," something she'd have done well to remember at the end of Season 5.
This episode is bad.
It's TCW.
I just remembered these episodes being more tolerable, but wow, after hearing that list...
Only through fire is a strong Only through fire is a strong sword forged.
Wow. I think this quote actually fits the episode. Incredible.
I think we talked at the beginning of the last episode that these quotes seem to be aimed at Lee Char.
Yeah.
And since he's actually a half-decent character, then the quotes actually are pretty good. But we got a quote here from someone in our Discord, which says, "Humility is non-negotiable. If you aren't humble, whatever empathy you claim is false and probably results from some arrogance or the desire to control. But true empathy is rooted in humility and the understanding that there are many people with as much to contribute in life as you." I actually really like that quote.
Yeah, this would be a great quote for Ahsoka to take to heart.
Ahsoka, you're up first. Take the prince and Senator Tills.
Got it.
All in one piece.
I'm just wondering, maybe we want to give this to... Yeah, because Padme says there's the ship, Anakin says still in one piece. Do we want to maybe give those lines to Ahsoka and Lee Char, or do we want to just leave it like... Because I think one of the problems we ran into in the last episode was like, because Ahsoka is such a side character in these episodes, there's nothing going on with her really, except for like a few scenes, but the majority of the time she's just quietly in the background.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind giving these lines to Ahsoka and Lee Char. Maybe Lee Char says there's the ship and Ahsoka's like still in one piece.
And then it's not.
Dun, 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 dun.
See that motion there where Padme just kind of gently puts her hand on the other senator's back? I love little moments like that.
Yeah.
Where it's just this kind of like, hey, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm thinking of you. I'm looking out for you. Because if I saw it correctly, basically Senator Tills actually kind of helped pull Padme, right? Because she's a Mon Calamari, so she's at home in the water. Padme's not, so she kind of helped Padme get to the chunk of debris, right? And then Padme's just, got her hand on her back, like, hey, we're working together, we're looking out for each other. And it's like, nothing is said, but so much is said.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like, TCW's, it has things that are good in it. And I think that's what frustrates me the most, is like, it could have been great because they have these little things in there that it's like, sparks of greatness. And then the rest of it's on fire.
So close, yet so far.
We need to split up and hide the prince's whereabouts. Not sure that's the best strategy.
I'm sure. Captain Akbar's words are my own. It will give us the best chances of surviving if we split up.
As you wish. Ahsoka, you and the prince go with Kit and take the clones.
Love how Ahsoka's just suddenly there.
Yeah. Yo, I didn't even see her in the last shot of Lee Char there, but like, poof, she's there.
I feel like there was a slightly different angle, right? So she could have been there, but she'd have been hidden behind Anakin. But it's just kind of weird because, like we can't see her and then suddenly she's there. It was kind of that way when Lee Char started speaking too, though. It was like, it's just Anakin and Akbar. And then suddenly Lee Char's there. And then suddenly Ahsoka's there.
I'll take the senators and Captain Akbar. Lay low.
Yeah, again, she says nothing. Oh, there we go. They kind of gave her
the
a
same
similar
kind of motion
to Padme there. I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
But should we have her say something there, like when Anakin gives her the order?
I don't see why not. I mean, earlier when he gave her an order, all she got it, right? It's like, why not have her just say that? But also I can understand why they didn't want to just like have her only say 10 lines and 6 of them are got it.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't tell her to lay low. She's like, we'll lay low.
Yeah, so she actually contributes some thoughts.
Whoa.
It's kind of funny though, because the Akbar says to Anakin, we need to split up and hide the prince's whereabouts. And Anakin's like, I'm not sure that's the best strategy. And Lee Char's like, I'm sure. It's like, you're sure that the best strategy is to hide your whereabouts? Okay. Like,
yeah, that's a good
point. To clarify, like, splitting up is what he considers to be the best strategy. So it's like, it works out, but it's just kind of funny. Yeah, so he tells her, Ahsoka, you go with Prince and Fisto and take the clones. I'll go with the senators and Captain Akbar. And then she can say, yeah, okay, we'll lay low. And yeah, maybe to Anakin, she says, stay safe, or may the force be with you, or something like that. I find it interesting there that she's holding his hand and swimming faster than he is. She's kind of pulling him along.
Yeah, that's weird.
Even with like flippers and such like that, a human is just not used to swimming. Even a very good swimmer will not be as good a swimmer as someone who literally lives in the water. So I think it should be reversed.
We have no army, and we don't know if reinforcements are coming. What are our options?
We sit tight. There's not much we can do.
I think given the new mentality we've kind of given Ahsoka, I think I would tweak her lines there. Just have her say, like, we sit tight for now.
Yeah, I think that works. Because, yeah, in our version, she did learn patience, and we have shown that.
Well, I was just kind of referring to the fact that she's pushing herself to do more as of late. So having her say, there's not much we can do right now, I don't think she'd want to embrace that idea. Not with the mentality she carries now.
What if we had Fisto say, there's not much we can do, so we're gonna sit tight. And then she adds, for now.
Yeah, so it's an acknowledgement that this is temporary, we're gonna get back into it, we're gonna help.
So many prisoners. Where are they taking them?
To become slaves.
I can't believe no Sarai and the Quarren agreed to this.
Count Dooku rules here for now, not the Quarren.
What you see, Prince, is the future of all the people on this world. Mon Cala and Quarren. All slaves for Count Dooku.
I would give Ahsoka more of a reaction there, because like in the beginning, like she kind of looks a little sad toward the end there, but for most of it she just seems to have like this neutral expression on her face. It almost looks to me like she's smiling, which is like totally not fitting for the situation. So I would give her like much more of a clear like, oh my goodness, this is horrible expression. Like, we don't even necessarily have to give her a close-up, just like make it abundantly clear that she is horrified at what she's seeing.
Would we want her to kind of compose herself before addressing Lee Char, though?
Yeah, that would
as
work.
kind of like I'm as freaked out as he is, but I can't let it show because as a Jedi, I should be the level-headed one, right? Like, actually, on the topic of immediately jumping to the correct conclusion that the Separatists are pure evil and the Quarren have nothing to do with it because they're not Separatists, I guess. I wanted to kind of talk about ways we could, because we talked about like there's no nuance, but like ways we could potentially inject nuance either actually in our rewrite or even just as kind of a thought experiment, but otherwise we continue following the pre-established plot. Because I jotted down a few ideas here. One could be that like the king died naturally rather than being murdered. Or if he was murdered, maybe it's not Tamsin who did the murdering. Like maybe his savagery is like way toned down, so he's not this walking, swimming shark stereotype. We could even have a Mon Calamari be the murderer, maybe even the senator. And another way we could make that more relevant, because right now it's just kind of this thing that happened in the background, and so trying to use that to inject nuance, it would still kind of just be a throwaway line. Whereas if we actually wanted to work it into the story itself, I think we would have to go back and start from like episode 1. So I don't think we're going to add this into our rewrite, but something we could have done is potentially have it that like Anakin and Akbar are focused on solving the mystery of like who killed the king or how did he die, whatever, while Lee Char and Ahsoka are just kind of focusing on keeping Lee Char safe.
For changing like what we can hear, getting rid of Ahsoka's more black and white mentality, maybe instead of having her be like, oh, Count Dooku rules here, not the Quarren, we could just have her say like, the Quarren have chosen their side.
Would we want to have Fisto keep his line that his mentality is more black and white? Because like it comes down to how much do we want to have Ahsoka being like the Jedi of the day and having kind of a less than proper Jedi mentality toward the war and everything. Like, do we want her to be on the same page as them, or do we want her to be going separate?
I'm not sure now. Because, like, we could come at it from the angle of, like, she wants to see the people who get basically recruited into the separatist movement as victims. Like, she maybe wants to see it that way, even
I mean, because she with her conversation with Lux, she kind of got to see, oh yeah, the Republic's not all good, and the Separatists aren't all bad.
True, yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I think in order to really fix the nuance,
there would be
really
so much overhauling to do.
And partly because we're already in season 4, and partly because, like, trying to just fix Ahsoka's character is enough of a task on its own. Like, I'd have to do like a second pass kind of thing to then inject nuance and then, fix like Anakin's character to make him more in line with the prequels, that kind of thing, right? So like kind of each aspect would need its own series that's just focusing on that. As much as I would love to do better about nuance, and we're trying in small ways to really give it the depth it deserves, it would need to be its own entire series. Basically, I'm acknowledging our nuance fixes are not exponentially better. They're just a little better.
There must be something more I can do.
I know it's hard, but you have to be patient.
But you saw my people. I failed them.
No, Remember Captain Akbar's words. You are the hope of your people. As long as you live, they will endure.
We have to fight back.
You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful. Some leaders' strength.
Do you want to recall Lightsaber Lost? Because I don't, but that's what sprang to mind.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh my goodness. It's so two-faced. So two-faced.
It's like in other circumstances, I would consider that character growth, but because they had no idea what they were doing with her character in season 2, episode 11, I'm not convinced they have any idea what they're doing with her here.
Is inspiring greatness in others.
But my people don't even know I'm alive. How can I inspire them if they think I'm dead?
It's literally like all her lines there are just like, oh, the purest sagely wisdom. And it's like, come on. She's not this paragon of virtue.
Yeah, I mean, and again, going back to literally her last episodes, end of season 3, her thing was all, we can't run and hide like this. My master would never forgive me for doing that. We have to go out there kamikaze style. You know, if we're gonna go down with a fight. And like, that was her whole mentality the entire time.
Exactly.
And now she's sitting here. It's hard, but you have to be patient. We just gotta sit tight. And it's about just inspiring people. And it's like,
it's infuriating. I think her first line is okay, but I would change her expression so that, like, she's not happy either about having to wait on the sidelines. She wants to be helping. So yeah, just change her expression to show that.
Maybe he says, I wish there was something more I could do. And then she's like, yeah, me too. As I don't like that, because she's like, I know it's hard for you, but you have to be patient. Like,
oh yeah, we could change it to we.
Setting herself above him. But yeah, just this kind, like, I want her to kind of take on, like, these are my feelings too. Yeah, I am also...
Just change the you to we.
Yeah, and maybe even just remove the I know and just be like, yeah, it's hard, but we have to be patient. Her recalling Akbar's words.
I feel like that would be a good opportunity to kind of show the envy she has.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But I'm kind of wondering if we should maybe change it to something that would like ring a little more personal for her.
Maybe she asks him, like, kind of prompts him, like, what did Akbar tell you? And he's like, well, he told me that I'm the hope of my people. And she's like, your mentor is wise. And you can tell when she says it, like, there's a bit of sadness there, that she wants what he has.
I guess I like that idea. My thought is, I'm wondering if we change what Akbar said to Lichar and made it something that Ahsoka would kind of want to hear from her own mentor.
Oh yeah, but what would that be?
That's what I am struggling with, which is why I am putting it on you.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Both of their struggles right now is that they want to help people, but they feel ill-equipped. Like they don't feel like they are capable of enough to actually help all the people that need helping.
Maybe kind of what Akbar says is something along the lines of like, you are enough. You being alive is enough. Because, yeah, like, what Ahsoka wants right now is to be a good Jedi. So, like, basically hearing you are enough would be huge for her.
Yeah. So what if it's something along the lines of, yeah, you being alive is enough. As long as you live, there is hope. Or maybe, you know, there's hope for the people kind of thing, right? Because it does need to be specific enough to Lichar, but also ring true for Ahsoka. So, and then, yeah, definitely I would put a tone in her voice that's kind of like, I envy you, man.
Ahsoka's "you don't have to carry a sword to be powerful" line. I think it would be okay for her to say that, because, like, I mean, she's got the Force, right? And we've kind of keeping it in the back of our minds that, like, she has been training more.
This is a lesson that she has learned. Like, back in season 3, she doesn't need her lightsaber to help, to be powerful. So I think that would actually be perfect for her to kind of pass on that wisdom that she has learned.
But the second part there, some leaders' strength is inspiring greatness in others.
I do agree with that.
But does it make sense to be coming out of her mouth? I guess it could make sense, because again, like, this is what she wants to be. She wants to be a great Jedi, and a great Jedi is going to be inspirational.
It's also possible that this is kind of how she sees Akbar. I think she would see this even in Anakin, but also, the other Jedi Masters that we have had her paired with, right? Each one of them, I think she would view as a good leader, and each one of them has inspired her to become a better version of herself. I might, like, it could even be something that, like, kind of as she says it, even she kind of realizes the epiphany of it. Because I've definitely had that myself when I'm, like, giving advice to someone else. I'm like, oh, dang, like, that's true. Like, I believed it when I said it to you, but I was also just kind of saying it because, like, I knew it was a good thing to say, but now it's, like, really hitting home for me. I think it makes sense to close up on him being like, but they don't even know I'm alive.
Yeah, if we kept her lines the same there, then it makes sense to keep his lines the same.
Yeah. And you see the other people who are not important.
Yeah, nobody cares about those other people.
Nobody cares about the unimportant.
Nobody.
Yeah, how does he just suddenly out there with the horn?
Conch. How do you say that?
I have no idea how to say it, but I just realized I forgot to go back to the correct screen for you guys. Okay. Please ignore everything that just happened.
I will not ignore it.
Okay, so basically they take out the radar and sonar scanning. That's what Anakin was doing. And then Padme comments, at least we're taking attention away from the prince. And then it cuts to this. Did you notice how those enslaved Mon Cala were, like, not bound in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
I mean, we see their prison later, and it's just like, this is a prison?
Makes you think of the live-action Airbender.
You are never allowed to speak of that. It does not exist. I've never even watched it because I've just heard of the trauma that it caused.
Oh, well.
To every Avatar.
Don't know. They put the Earthbenders in a prison.
I've seen the clips.
Full of Earth.
I know.
It's great. Makes perfect sense. But yeah, like the fact that nobody noticed Lee Char just leave the cave and find a horn somehow, and
because like in the first scene with them in this cave, then like they were all up at the front when the scene ended, and then beginning of the next scene, it's just the clones and Fisto up at the front, and Lee Char and Ahsoka are way at the back. It's like, okay, that's not that big of a change. You can allow suspension of disbelief for that. But then you're telling me now everybody's like here in this gaggle, no one's paying any attention to the prince.
It's
like
so stupid.
The guy who's supposed to have been keeping watch at the front of the cave is now in like the back of the cave with Fisto. Like, it doesn't really show where they are in relation to him. Yeah, it looks like they're at the back of the cave. They have to swim all the way over to him. Like, what's going on? Why?
I feel like the way I'd want to change it is like maybe Ahsoka notices Lee Char trying to sneak out of the cave, and she's like, yo, what are you doing? And then, like, he kind of talks her into letting him, because she was the one who told him, like, some people's strength is inspiring people. So he kind of talks her into letting him inspire his people.
I don't know if I would want to have Ahsoka do that, because I mean, like, they're literally like 5 of them against like a Quarren army out there. So I feel like she would recognize the recklessness of that, and her job is to keep him safe. So I think it would be better to instead show why the clones and Fisto and Ahsoka are distracted, and show him kind of sneaking behind them, right? Like, they're all in conversation and he's just like, even the audience doesn't really notice him because they're focused on the conversation that these guys are having, but we do see him like go behind them, and then yeah, it cuts to him blowing the conch. I'm just gonna call it a conch.
Yeah, I don't know, because yeah, Fisto had those 2 clone troopers posted at the front of the cave, and it's so weird.
Oh, okay. According to Google, it's pronounced conch. So I'm gonna keep pronouncing it conch just to bug people.
Conch sounds too close to Kronk.
Well, I think of like conch somebody on the head. Maybe that's where it comes from?
I don't know.
In any case, I'm going to pronounce it whatever way comes out of my mouth.
Okay.
So yeah, because basically their situation in a sense has changed and hasn't at the same time, right? So maybe the clones and Fisto and Ahsoka can be discussing like, okay, do we stay here and wait for the entire population of Mon Calamari to be shuffled past us, and then we'll go find a different hiding place? Do we just stay here? Like, do we intervene? Should we intervene? Try to free some people? Like, do we follow them and find out where the prison is? I guess they wouldn't need to because they've got Lee Char with them, so he could just tell them, because I assume he knows. He does take them there later. So yeah, like they could be discussing like these kinds of things, like basically what's our next step? How long do we wait here, right? Like, because if help does arrive, how are they going to find them in there? How are they going to know that it's come, right? So they've got things, important, relevant things that they can be discussing. And then, yeah, he slips around them, grabs a conch.
Maybe he distracts the clone troopers somehow.
Well, I would have the clone troopers talking to Fisto.
I don't know if it makes sense to pull them off the front of the cave.
Well, it kind of, the front of the cave looks completely different right now because like,
yeah, it
there's
does.
none of that seaweed. I don't know what they were doing, but they made it look completely different. In any case, I think it kind of does make sense for them to kind of pull back, because I mean, you risk being seen if you're right up near the front.
Okay, fair enough.
That's right, I'm right.
Well, I have a creature and you don't, so there.
I don't.
Oh no, the prince, hurry!
I would get rid of the hurry. Otherwise, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All people of Mon Cala who would not be slaves, have hope!
We will fight for you, Prince!
You will not be prisoners much longer.
Okay, I think the show is over. The guards will be coming. We have to go.
One thing I like about what he says there is he specifies all people of Mon Cala who would not be slaves, right? He is responding to, in a way, what Fisto and Ahsoka were saying earlier, that everyone, like even the Quarren, were becoming slaves of Count Dooku.
Lee is such a great character.
He's a good character, man. It's a pity that like his arc is so forgettable. I almost never hear anybody talking about the Water War arc.
Anyway, obviously we would have Ahsoka actually come out.
I would have her come and grab his wrist and like be pulling him back, saying like, okay, show's over, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Like, the guards are coming now. And then as they start shooting at her, she whips out her lightsaber and deflects those shots. So she's actually doing her job of protecting the prince.
I was gonna say, like, assuming there's not an opportunity to include it later, maybe instead of having her say like, okay, the show's over now, maybe instead she's like, when I said that inspiring people was a strength, I didn't quite mean this.
Yeah, you could have her say that as she maybe deflects the shots. And you know what? Actually, now that I think of it, being like, oh, I think the show is over, is a bit...
Yeah, it kind of rubs me the wrong way, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, now that I think about it, I don't like her calling it that. It feels very minimalizing, kind of like...
Condescending.
Yeah, thank you. There's the word. Condescending. It feels very condescending.
Especially after, like, she was the one who told him that inspiring others is a strength. Again, it's kind of her, like, not taking responsibility.
Sort of.
You said this thing, and then he took that to heart and did this thing, and yeah, like, including the line that we have is kind of having her acknowledge that responsibility that she has.
Because part of me is like, there is an extent where we need to take responsibility for words that can provoke others, but obviously they are in the end responsible for their own actions. And I guess I don't see her saying inspiring greatness. I don't see a direct connection between her saying that and him acting out this way. Like, I don't see direct provocation there. So I do feel the responsibility for that is more so on him. But yeah, her words here are definitely condescending. Actually, because like I was thinking, what would I want her tone to be when she says, you know, this isn't what I meant when I said to inspire greatness. And I think I would almost want her to say in this like a lighter tone of voice, because she wanted to do something too, and then he went and took initiative and did something, and now it's changed the balance of like where things are at. And so then now different things will happen. Instead of just sitting in a cave watching people become slaves, like now he's given people hope and he's stirred the waters in a sense, right? So it's like, I think I would want her to have a lightness in her tone when she kind of says that. It's like, you know, you shouldn't have done that, but I'm glad you did that.
Attack!
I would have Ahsoka be the first one after him instead of
him.
How did he not get shot there?
Plot armor. I think I would have Ahsoka close by him the whole time.
Yeah,
like, rather than having Fisto come up and kind of save Lee Char in that moment and then leave, and then Ahsoka comes back. Yeah, I would kind of have her around him the whole time. And yeah, he could still have his moment where like he grabs that weapon as it's going by and starts
shooting back,
helping. Yeah, protecting himself, having her back, and like stuff like that. I like that. But yeah, I would have her closer by the whole time. Because yeah, now she's gone again. Oh, there she is.
Stay in the center. There's less turbulence.
Yeah, what could possibly happen? Like, where is she? What is she doing?
Exactly.
Like, why didn't she go into the center with him? And then she just watches? I mean, she stops him in that moment. What if he'd bitten him, like, when he attacked him the moment before?
Yeah.
Instead of just pushing him? What if he just chomped on his head?
So I'm guessing we would have her stay in the center with him, and then when Riff goes to attack him, she force pushes him away, and then she gets distracted with the other droids, and then Riff grabs him, and then Kit has to intervene.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like she's doing what she can, but she can't deal with like 10 droids shooting at them and Riff zipping through at the same time, especially with visibility reduced and things like that. Yeah, but now
Ahsoka,
we can
stick
see
with the prince.
she was like they showed some clips of her occupied, But then there, she just kind of slowly comes up behind them, just kind of watching. It's like, what are you doing?
I would have her, like, as Kit Fisto turns to address her, you can see, like, she's just dealing with this one last droid.
Either that, or you could have she's swimming for Fisto and Riff as fast as she can, and then maybe she helps Fisto push Riff off with the Force, right? Like, it's kind of like a double Force push, and then yeah, she comes up alongside them, and then he's like, okay, I will continue to hold him off. And then, like, maybe she says, but I can help here. You said to help. Like, she doesn't say this, but it's kind of like she's calling back. You said to help in what capacity you can best help in, and I can help here. Like, this is something I can help with.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, the prince is the top priority. Take him to safety. That is what you can do. I would show, like, because that scene there where Kit is entirely surrounded, I would show on her face that she's really upset about having to leave him in that situation.
Yeah.
Sever one of the legs!
The foot is stuck.
No.
If I have to think of it, you have to think of it.
Find the prince! Find him!
I found him!
I'm sorry, Lichar.
I know what I must do. I know my people need me. I just don't know how to win this war.
I know you're scared, but you can't let your fear control you.
Aren't you scared?
I used to be, until I realized that if you make decisions out of fear, you're more likely to be wrong.
Again, she had this almost like neutral, almost smiley expression there, and it's like, no, like, show that she's upset.
Yeah, but like, it's like she has no problem with her. Like, she's just completely cool, calm, collected. Normally she takes these kinds of things so seriously, but she's just like totally chill, sagely.
It's just a complete like 180-degree character flip. Especially like you were saying, compared to the last arc, the Padawan Lost arc. Really?
Yeah. Wherein, like, basically she learned that what she did was the right thing to do. So it's not like, oh, well, she learned her lesson that she shouldn't have done. No, she learned that she shouldn't have done that. Like,
she is always right. Anyway, that bit where she was like, hey, I'm sorry, like, that was good. But then, yeah, like, everything that follows that is just...
Well, it doesn't make sense, because, like, she's really upset, too. I was kind of thinking, like, do we want to have her comforting him? Probably. Because I'm thinking, okay, we can maybe have a moment where, like, you know, you see Lichar, and he's looking out at everything happening. He's upset. It's clear he's upset. Ahsoka is behind him. And maybe we see, like, she's upset, but then she's looking at him and she's like, okay, I've got to deal with me so that I can help him. And so then, yeah, she kind of maybe does that. Like, she composes herself. Like, she kind of, I guess, technically just kind of represses what she's feeling, which maybe she's believing at this point is what a good Jedi would do. Like, she understands, like, the feelings aren't supposed to control her, but she doesn't understand the way to get over having them control you is to let them go rather than repress them, right? Because, like, technically the Jedi aren't about repressing emotions, they're about just letting them go. But yeah, with Anakin, he's like, oh, I repressed them? Okay, I'll do that. And it's like, no, that's not a good thing.
Here, I'm just thinking, maybe we kind of do what we did earlier, where instead of just kind of putting all the feelings on him, like, oh, I know you're scared, but blah blah blah, maybe instead she says, like, I know this is frightening, or like, I know this is upsetting, but you can't let your fear control you. Like, does it even really make sense, though, for her to focus in on fear? Because, like, is it really fear that he's feeling?
I would think so. Fear leads to anger, right? And he's angry because he's afraid that he's not going to be able to do anything, that his people are all going to become slaves, yeah. All that.
Okay. So when he says, aren't you scared?
I would have her say yes. She's like,
because we had her just like, she composes herself. She kind of shakes off what she's feeling, or just like buries it down. So like maybe she kind of takes a second and then she lets that mask fall. And then she's like, yes, I am. I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm. Maybe make it look like she's about to say no, and then she's honest. Maybe she kind of is like, I am afraid, but I have learned that if you make decisions out of fear, you're more likely to be wrong. Because in the last episodes, like in the Padawan Lost arc, she saw this dark side of herself that was born from fear, and she's like, that's not the person I want to be. So maybe seeing it in him makes her realize, wait, I'm walking down that road again, right? Again, like, growth isn't always just this clean cut thing. You having these moments where they struggle with it and then have to check themselves and try again, kind of thing, like, that's still good character growth. So I think having this moment be that way, that, like,
if anything, like,
she's just like, no, I'm just gonna.
We're kind of showing that she's overcompensating a bit for what happened in the Padawan Lost arc, because there she let her feelings control her, and here she's repressing them. Mm-hmm. Even though that's clearly not good for her. Okay, so I think that's it. So that was Season 4, Episode 2, Gungan Attack. We continued showing Ahsoka's envy of Lee Char and showed her struggling with her feelings as she's forced to sit on the sidelines. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like, share with your friends, and consider subscribing so you don't miss any future installments. As always, comment below letting us know what you think of our rewrites and what you would do differently. We'd appreciate any support you are willing and able to offer via Super Thanks or on Patreon, where we have plenty of exclusive content waiting for you. Next up, we'll be tackling Season 4, Episode 3, Prisoners, so be sure to join us for that. Did you just X out of the episode?
Yeah, no, I X'd out of the tab with the quote that I was because I was like, well, I'm done with the quote. I have no brain, okay? It has been a very busy week, and I have no brain.
That's what they all say.
Your face is what they all say. There.
No, it's
Happy
not.
now.
And the young prince, has he been captured?
These are the bad guys.
You don't say.
No.
Spring the trap.
It's a trap. Can you hear Dusty purring?
No. Oh, if I turn it up, I can definitely hear him. Yeah, now I can hear him even when I've got it turned back down. Did you move the mic closer to him?
Yes, it's ASMR.
Okay.
Okay, that's enough ASMR. Moving on.
Thank you for tuning in to our rewrites, complete with cat purring ASMR. I can't. You know what? I just give up. You can also just listen to me stutter and say the wrong thing like a moron. Super fun here on our channel.
We have to figure out what the highlights were for this.
Yes, would you stop talking?
Oh, what if I wanna talk? What if I wanna?
Oh, what are the highlights here?
Bananas.
Bananas. Okay, in this episode, we talked about bananas.
Yay!
Fired.
Rude. Okay, guys, we don't know what the highlights were for this episode, so you get to decide. Goodbye. How about I ask Dusty what the highlights were? Dusty, you care to comment?
Sure. Very helpful in that regard. Okay.
He has no comments. That song has been stuck in my head for like 2 weeks now.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to be your face. That's what they all say.
Your face is what they all say.
No, it's not. Your face.
I like my face better too. Thank you very much.
Your opinion is wrong.